Hey guys, this is the Any Thoughts podcast. It's me, Benny.
Me B-Rad.
Me Big Mo, what's up?
Iverson, what's up?
And introducing a special guest, Anthony. Say hi.
Hey, what's up?
So today we're going to start with some slaps and chaps, but as always, we'd like to thank you for the continued support. We'd really appreciate it once again if you liked and subscribed, and if we reach the 100 subscriber count by May, we'll watch a shitty movie. The two options are Velocipastor or Dracula 3000. So we'll do a watch along of that if we can reach 100 subs by the end of May. Instagram is thoughts_podcast, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And the Twitter is thoughts2?
Thought podcasting.
Thought podcast. Okay. And those will be in the description as always. But to begin, does anybody want to start off with slaps and chaps?
I can go.
Okay.
I have some crazy slaps, guys. All right, so what's been slapping is finally, you guys remember the entire thing with the Kuwait Society of Engineers? Long story short, I'm supposed to get an approval from them saying that I am an engineer and that I'm supposed to, no, I'm setting up the story for Anthony. So I'm supposed to get an approval from them saying that I am an engineer and I become a member of them, of the society, and I can work as an engineer and I get a visa in Kuwait. Long story short, finally I got my approval. I paid for the interview, which didn't happen, by the way. I paid for an exam, which happened, and I flunked it miserably. And I finally got my approval, guys. So I am finally official enough. I didn't have to retake the exam. They made me pay for the interview, but I didn't have an interview either. So they were like, okay, fuck it. We're just gonna give this guy the approval. He's been waiting for too long. I was like,
well, that's the only good thing to come out of Corona.
Yeah, so that's exactly what's been slapping. So I'm official now. So I getting my civil ID, which is the final step, and then after that, bank account, credit cards, driver's license, all that is a product of that. So yeah, I'm well on my way to get that going. So that's what's been slapping. What's been chapping though is the general contractor I work for is is planning to downsize us. So I'll be essentially working in rotations with other engineers. So we have 10 engineers and they want just 3 engineers on site to cover everything on site and one manager to help us. Now, might I add, just to put things in perspective, this site is an airport and it's miles long. So 3 engineers just to cover one fucking site with one manager at the helm is it's fucking ridiculous, but that's all these clowns can afford. So it is what it is. Fuck Corona, guys. But exactly. Yeah, that's literally what's been clapping. That's literally just I'm just fuck this shit, man. But you know what? As long as I get paid and
you still got a job.
Yeah, exactly. That the positive out of it is it gives me more time to work out and work on my 6-packs, which are coming, guys. Downloading real soon. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been working on.
6pack.exe downloading soon.
6-pack of
Corona? 6-pack of Corona.
For all the
Kyles. Yes. For all the Kyles out there. But yeah, I'm just going to focus on myself, focus on some writing. We plan on building up scripts for our skits. So, just need to get something going there. Need to get those creative juices flowing. So, yeah, a lot of free time helps. Definitely going to meditate. But yeah, I'm going to pass the baton on to my homies over here. So, guys.
I mean, for me, nothing's really been chapped, which is pretty good, but I start summer classes soon, so that's back to the grind, I guess, for now. But in terms of just slaps, I've been obsessed with Dark Souls, an obscenely amount over the past, a week or two now. I'm almost done with the first game, so that's kind of fun. But yeah, I just been buried doing that, but a lot more fun. Most of the time when I play those games, because I have all of them, I'll start them and then stop halfway through because I'm busy, and then just never come back to it because it's kind of hard to get back into once you're stopped for a while. But this is like the first one I'll ever finish. That's pretty fun. But yeah, I'll pass it on to somebody else.
Sure, I'll take it.
Okay.
For slaps for me, honestly, just being home and being able to sleep, relax, work out, and just play video games and drink whenever I feel like it has been amazing, honestly. Um, I really like being home. I'll tell you that right now. It's fun. Get to talk to some old friends on the box, on the Xbox, get to shoot around like
Tell
that.
them all where you're drinking.
I'm not drinking anything right now. I'm not even. I'm. If you look around, I'm like. I'm not even drinking anything right now.
You're very dry today.
I did today. I bought some new beer. I bought some Smirnoff Ice. So that's gonna be fun to drink later today. But for chaps, I don't really have any chaps really, other than filing a claim for my stolen bike, really. But other than that, everything's going pretty well right now. I'll pass off to Iverson for last.
Yeah, so this week's been pretty interesting. Med school apps opened up a few days ago. So I'll say that's in my chap. It's kind of a pretty lengthy process. You just have to reach out to a lot of people for guidance. So letters of rec, you have to do all that. You have to look at all the schools or websites that they require. So I'll say it's a pretty big chap because it's pretty time consuming. Plus working a job too takes up a lot of time. As you can see, I'm in a car, so that's why you can hear extra sound. But the grind never stops. But yeah, I'll say that's the chap, and then the slap is just, it's just being here, being able to talk to you guys. I'll say it's a slap, and we have a guest on our show, so
Yeah,
let's go.
be fun. Our second guest, everybody, is the number 2 guest.
Yeah.
He's the shit.
You can join us in Slaps and Chaps if you want, Anthony. Yeah.
I don't really have too many slaps. I mean, I've just been playing like an unhealthy amount of video games, lots of League. I've been playing Jet Set Radio, which is like a huge game from my childhood. It's like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Memories with it.
Yeah. Also, one of the best soundtracks. Period. But yeah, just chilling at home, doing whatever. I've been working too, making money.
Making bank.
Service industry, not really, but it's getting there.
An OnlyFans account,
Oh man, my feet fix.
Honestly, dog.
You don't have to pay taxes. So.
No, you do.
You do. People just don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
For chat. Fuck, dude, my coworkers.
My coworkers, bro.
Dude, my coworkers treat Facebook like some sort of tea spilling grounds. They're in their fucking 50s, and they act like they're 14, like with all the drama. They're so annoying.
Dude, I think it's my dad always says this. As you get older, it's like it's your second childhood. Mm-hmm. It's like these, like as you get older, you just like you lose a whole sense of like self-control, and you just end up saying some really inappropriate shit. And it's fucking insane, dude. Like I remember going to this family function, and like this aunt of mine was like my cousin, he brought his fiance, and he was introducing the fiance to the first time, and they'd been dating for a while, and like we knew that okay, these guys were like dating and stuff, and like and like nobody, like my aunt and uncle didn't quite really approve of this match, but they were like, okay, you know what, for the peace of the family, we're just going to keep this going, we're just going to allow it. So fiance,
you broke up a little bit.
Yeah,
so
you just like that.
Yeah, like, yo, can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
good. Okay. So he brought his fiance, everybody's like there, and this aunt just shows up out of the fucking blue, and she's like, yo, so how's he down there? And like she like looks at my cousin's pants, and she just goes, how's he down there? And yeah. Just
And
I was standing there.
savage grandma in the family though, like like that's like really epitomizes the second childhood is having like a savage grandma because you're just
Yeah,
like, why did you
yeah,
just say that? But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I think
yeah.
with that, yeah, we'll start with how we met Anthony. So like all things, how we meet most people, even the previous guests for the majority of the time, we meet them at Brad's parties.
Pretty much, yeah.
Uh,
Parties.
yeah. So I can't. I think it was Brad's Halloween's party, and like we're all having a good time, and like that was a wild night for sure. And all I see is this guy who's like dressed up as the Pope or a bishop,
I thought it
and
was Pharaoh.
yeah, and then he looks at Brad and he's like, "Yo, do you guys fuck with water?"
I was like, yeah. I was
And
like, yes,
like
man, we do
me and my friend were right next to each other, and we were like, "Yo, do you fuck with water, Brad?" I don't know, just like an iconic line, but that's essentially how we met Anthony. We just realized he had a good sense of humor, and we're just like, there's always a moment when he's around. Like the next time we saw him, he asked us if we had heard the Minecraft remix of a particular song.
That was at
Yeah,
my
it's just always
place.
a good time.
That was at
Yeah,
my place.
yeah,
We had, and not to forget the fact that we had smoked up a pound, so all of us were just like, "Yo, what's
Yeah,
going on?" Like, it's like
not me. You guys didn't
that was. I
ship
think
it.
that was. No, you came. That's because you came later. Then, like, I think we had, since one of our friends had just brought like a shit ton of weed. We were just like everybody was so excited because it was also St. Patty's Day, and everybody's like, "Yeah, dude, let's get fucked up." And then we all got fucked up, and then you just showed up, and I was like, "Yo," and he's like, "Yo, are you guys high?" Because you just walked into the room and you could just smell the good kush everywhere. It was just there, and you were like, "Yo, are you guys high?" And I was like, "Yeah." So then he's like, "Hey, can you give me some?" He was like, "It's over, dude. You showed up late."
Oh, man.
Was that the same night our other friends were there?
yeah. We were
Yeah.
all
Two
there.
friends?
Yeah. No,
We
no.
were
I
all
think there was
there.
another
Yeah, everybody
friend.
was there, man.
But yeah, but
Everybody there.
We showed up
it's
late though. I think that's what happened. Like we missed those festivities, unfortunately too.
no. You guys were there. You guys were there from the beginning.
The ice friend.
The,
The ice
the
friend.
ice friend, yeah, the ice friend, yeah. The comment with this friend said that she would call ice
Oh, that
on
was the
me
same night.
was that night.
Huh.
Yeah, that was the same
Oh
night.
yeah, I remember.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then
I think
our
our
fear
other
of
friend one was there too.
yeah,
Yeah,
I wear glasses, so I appear
was
less
there as well.
threatening. Yeah,
Less threatening. Less threatening.
that was a good night.
It was. It was.
Yeah, but I mean that's the short story and how we met Anthony. But with that, we're gonna go into a pretty funny topic. Kim Jong Un's sister, smash or
Kim
pass?
Yo Jong. Kim Yo Jong.
Or as I like to say, Kim Jong Dos. You know.
Anthony, what is
Well,
that
Those.
symbol, man?
That
I
is
mean,
an
like,
S.
It's a
if
two.
you're swiping right on
It's an
Tinder,
S.
Oh, it's an S.
oh,
Okay,
true.
it looks like a two.
Yeah, like if you're swiping right on Tinder, would you say yes or no to Kim Jong Un's sister? But also, like the added effect of the fact that she's next in line to be a dictator, are you into that? Because like if you think about it, like she would definitely peg you if she was bored. You know?
I don't know.
So I mean, there's that.
Of dictators as a general thing, so that's a huge turn off for me. But just in general, no. I mean, listen, we're not trying to be like sexist and pigs up in here, but she is, in my opinion, an evil person just for all the things that she has allowed to happen to the people of North Korea and all the things she probably did to the people of North Korea. And I just wouldn't have my morals was telling not to mess with her just on practice.
But I mean, imagine if it was in America, like the ideal setting
And it will
would be
still be no.
decapitated. No, I was just saying, like
I would not
you
because
can't decapitated Brad. You know, just
the
the
answer
ideal
still be
setting.
no. Like honestly, the answer still be no. I mean, first speaking, she could be in America. She still did what she does in North Korea, and
Fair enough.
I'm not about that. I'm sorry.
You're a man of morals.
I don't care if she was like she's like a top 10 model looking amazing. Doesn't matter how you did some very fucked up shit for free, and I ain't about it.
Fair enough. Why
But
would
is that
you
really
do
her?
Smash your pass?
Or is that
No.
just...
Say again, Harrison?
No, I'm saying, is that really her, or is that just... Like, does she kind of have a choice? Like, is
Well,
North
I
Korea
mean,
saying,
Yeah,
"You
I
gotta
feel
do
like she
this, or else
wouldn't.
you're gonna
It's
be
it's like if
forced."
she
Yeah, she
disagrees,
wouldn't have a
like
choice. Yeah.
yeah,
But-
but also though,
She allowed
looks
it to
like
happen, though.
from Avatar: Last Airbender. Like she looks like exactly like Azula. You know, like
No, Benny, stop that.
yeah,
Benny,
she does.
Benny, what you need to do is you need to take 5 minutes to yourself and rub one off, and then look at her again.
No, have you not seen the memes though? Like, all I'm saying, like, you look at the
Benny,
memes,
no.
right?
I don't,
When
Benny.
you
I'm
put
not sure
her
if
in the
when you drunk
armor,
look
you
at those
put her in
pictures, man.
Azula's
No.
armor, 1-to-1, like 1-to-1. All I'm gonna say, bro. And I didn't even like Azula because she's a bitch. And like to be fair, like this woman probably is too, you know. But I'd say swipe right, you know, like you'd be able to say on your bucket list, like, you know, just smash the dictator sister. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you would always have that over Kim Jong Un. Like, think about it. Like, you'd be like, hey.
Yeah,
like,
you get you 1 second. You get to say you get to say that you smashed his sister, and then he gets to send you to a concentration camp, and then only just feed you potatoes for the rest of your life.
But I mean,
So you
if
die
you're
of
America,
diabetes.
in the idealized setting, like, could he really do anything? Like, he's been trying to send missiles over here for years. Like, I doubt he's
He probably has
black
spies.
with a secret operation.
He probably has spies over here, dude. He probably has spies. How do you know?
I mean, I doubt they're that advanced, but maybe we should give him more credit.
Yeah, give him
I
more
don't know,
credit.
man. Apparently, this dude faked his own death to see who betrayed him. So I mean,
Yeah, it's
he
like-
might be smarter than what we all are
Such a
thinking right now.
secret. It was such a secret movie villain plot. Like it literally
Yeah.
just like it reminded me of The Dictator, like the Sacha Baron Cohen's the movie, The Dictator. He's like, she put my Aladdin in her Aladdin. I was like, what?
Yeah.
But do any of you guys
What's
want to
your pick,
elaborate on
Marcus?
the smash or pass?
Ooh.
Yeah, I can. I can go.
Smash.
Oh,
No, you go ahead.
Okay, Anthony. Good. No, go ahead. Anthony.
Alright.
Go ahead.
Abso-fucking-lutely. And let me explain.
Explain.
When are you ever going to fuck a dictator?
Right? Like,
This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And think about it. Like, throughout history, right? Countries would fucking send princesses over to other nations, you know, for political gain, right? I'm that princess. It's 2020. I'm gonna be a set piece in, like, this whole fucking political scheme. Fuck yes.
I see your point. I really do. You could make history.
she's a princess.
I'm the prince.
A princess is a lot of power in killing people.
No. I'm the bargaining tool. I'm the prince.
He's the
I'm gonna
bargaining
marry
tool.
both of them.
He's
You
Oh,
win her
man.
heart so she doesn't nuke the nearby countries. You know, it's all about a balance of power.
I'm doing it for the homies over here.
Yeah. We're doing it for
Be
South
careful
Korea.
not to be like Dennis
Yeah.
Rodman and start turning into a huge Kim Jong Un lover.
Yeah.
Hey, if it happens, it happens.
Well, I feel like, honestly, I feel like if Kim Jong Un's sister wasn't a dictator, because aren't like I guess like females and like Asian.
You're breaking up.
you're cracking up, dude. You're breaking up.
Yeah, you're dying on us.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, we can just go on.
Yeah. You're cracking up, Ivy.
Like, compared to
So-
a lot more
okay, you're back.
You're breaking up, dude. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, I did not hear.
What did you say? We didn't hear what he said.
We heard honestly females. And that's
Yeah, we're
yeah. Try
yeah, my
again.
bad. So I was saying females in Asian countries are more submissive than American females, pretty much. So I feel like that would be a little better. I don't know if that's true.
I mean, like, it depends. Like, her personality type, she's probably like alpha as fuck though. Like, think about
Yeah,
it. Like,
that's true.
I'm addicted. Like, it'd be
Like, I was-
interesting if you could get that like tidbit of information though. because like it would just add on to this thing. Like maybe you could have like a puppet like dictatorship. Like like I won't give you some dick unless you do this over here. But like that's the only way this would work. Like it's a 50-50.
But the
But
thing is, man, think about this. She can literally force any man she wants to in her country to have sex with her. So it's just like listen, I will kill you and your whole entire family unless you don't give me the D.
Well,
that's
would
fair.
she have to force though? She won't have to.
But then,
because
like
guys are thirsty enough to do.
It would be the ultimate like makeup sex though if she did that.
Just think about that, man. Like you and your whole family have just been treated poorly by this lady. All of a sudden, she points a gun to your head, like, "Yo, eat this
Give me the D.
else."
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
So
No.
I don't know. I mean, the way. See, here's the thing. Like, I agree with Brad. If she showed up on my like Tinder like profile, I'd be like, yo, no, I'm just gonna swipe left. Just simply because she looks like the sort of person who skins puppies and eats them.
Probably.
And I'm scared of that shit. She probably does because she's like literally each and every expression of hers. If you've seen some of her expressions, like whichever the media has captured, she looks pissed off, and Kim Jong-un looks happy. So most probably Kim Jong-un stole her food.
I mean, I'd be pissed off too if I didn't shit my entire life.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah, so I'm genuinely like at this point I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on, man?
I feel like you would be down if there weren't any consequences though, Mo. Like in an ideal situation you'd be down.
I swear, man. Take 5 minutes to yourself, my man.
I mean, if she was in South Korea and she was just another Korean hottie who does like K-pop and shit, I'm like, sure, why not?
Fair enough.
I don't see the attraction with her. I really don't, honestly.
Honestly, she's like a solid 7, but I mean, like for the duty of the world, like think about it.
What?
Like like just think about.
I guess I don't see it.
6.5.
Like in Anthony's situation of being the sacred prince who changed the world. Like like think about it out. Don't ask what your country could do for you. What could you do for your country, Brad?
I mean, Benny, I feel like you and Dennis Rodman need to take a trip to North Korea real quick.
Nah, not really. I don't need it that bad.
Because I remember watching this one video how Dennis Rodman came back and he literally started crying about how they mistreat Kim Jong-un. It was like, this man's the greatest thing, man. Why are you guys hating on him so much? Like, honestly, I think he might have gotten fucked by Kim Jong-un the way he was crying about it. It's like, man, he's the best. He's the best, man. He's the best. They kissed me on my neck after I had sex with him. I'm just like, yo, Dennis, what's wrong, man? What's going on here? No, man.
But I don't know. What's your stance on it? Swipe right or no?
Me?
Ivy.
Swipe right. He's gonna swipe right.
To the left? Damn.
Yeah.
I know he's kind of bugging out for me right now, but I'm assuming he's a.
I think you have to unmute your mic.
See, because doesn't it like flip what direction he's going? So is that a left or a right?
Yeah, true.
We'll get back to people on that one.
Guess. Well, anyways, so anybody else want to add anything to this conversation before we move on, or
Anthony, our guest, you got anything else you want to say, man? I understand you love her so much, man.
Man, it's not that I love her. It's just like
it's like neither of us love her. It's just like imagine like the situation,
the status, you know.
Yeah.
People like sleep with ugly celebrities all the time just because they're celebrities.
Yeah, like somebody slept with Post Malone. Like somebody slept with Post Malone, and I'm like that's not clout.
See, like people genuinely love Post Malone though. That's
yeah.
the only. Well,
there's plenty of girls out there who actually genuinely like his look.
Yeah.
The homeless hobo look.
Yeah, shout out to all the women.
Hey, you know what? He's a rich homeless hobo. Look.
Yeah, who doesn't shower apparently. Like I think I read this on Reddit somewhere that one of his somebody who went to high school with him went to his one of his parties or something, and she's like, and she was like, she was trying to get with him, and then when she went up close, he just smelled just super fucking dank, and she was like, yo, nope, I'm not into this. Bye. That was the
my
funniest
favorite fact,
fucking.
my favorite fact about Post Malone is that before he became Post Malone, he was trying out for a post-hardcore band called Crown the Empire, and they rejected him, and then he became Post Malone.
Crown the Empire, aren't they the Berserk themed deathcore band? No.
I don't think so, but I mean, I listened to their music before. They only had one album out prior to him, but I don't know. I mean, like, it's just interesting because, like, I wouldn't think of Post Malone having that range because, like, most of the time, like, emo music is like higher pitched singing, but you know.
Brand of Sacrifice, that's the band I was thinking of.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Like,
So,
if
yeah.
you're a fan of Berserk and deathcore, like, that's a band.
They combine the two.
And you don't see a lot of, like, African American lead singers in a deathcore.
You don't. That's really
the only
true.
band I can think of off the top of my head is
Oceano. Yeah. And Adam Warren's a fucking monster.
Like, to go like to take a little like divergent path when it comes to music. I mean, nowadays you see a lot more people rap like scream music. You know,
Ghostman.
Like that really got popular. People like Denzel Curry. You know, you got XX Tashion. You know, you got a lot of those people who kind of popularized it, and there are a couple of like black screamo rap music artists out there.
Star-Lord.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that's what I think the great thing about the more popularization. Like, the reason I like Juice WRLD a lot is because he really did combine a lot of like rock kind of like themes into his music, and he was probably the most popular out of them to do that. But the same thing with XX, he was more definitely into the post-hardcore side, which I like. Even I think the album Question Mark, I think it was called, right? Like, he even started off by making people be like, you have to have an open mind to this sound, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
like that whole like underground trap metal scene, like Ghostman, Star-Lord, Suicide Boys, that's huge in my home country.
Yeah. Oh, really? That's pretty cool.
Like pretty much everybody knows who Ghostman is. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, the thing that I heard that was interesting about that scene is, like, I don't know if you guys ever got into pop punk, but it's like all the pop punk kids became, like, the emo rap kids. Like, it was, like, this shift overnight. And it's, like, that's what caused a bunch of, like, the underground scene to be pretty popular. But, anyways, with that, we have to ask a very serious question, which is, do you guys fuck with... You know?
Can you repeat that question?
Yeah,
you said
question. Guys, fuck with Bionicles.
Absolutely.
Oh man,
absolutely.
Yeah, man, Bionicles all over Lego Ninjago, honestly.
I mean, like, the thing is, like, I don't know how, like, Lego just decided to kill it off. Because, like, the thing is, like, the movies were fire. It was an event every single time the movies came out. The video games were just equally as great, and the Bionicles were just great in general. You know, like, and that's the thing, like, I just don't know how they decided to just let it go. Because, I mean, like, maybe it's the thing that maybe we just thought they were way more popular than what they were, and maybe they weren't selling that well. Because I think I only had, like, 2 or 3, but, like, I always wanted them. Like, anytime I got a chance to watch one, I would. But, like, I don't know. I just think, like, everything they did with that was just, like, so ahead of their time.
Yeah, no, but Bionicle to me was, like, it was a really good toy to have, and it was just different from everything else because there's nothing quite like that, you know, like like an action figure that can move in all different directions, that can be different creatures, different sets, and I don't know why. Like it kind of had like an African theme kind of to it in a way.
It was like Pacific Islander kind of.
Like, especially with the movies that I think I've seen like 2 or 3 of the movies. Especially with the movies, it's taking place like in so many different locations and the different elements like ice, fire, water, earth.
And the thing is, they were Pixar level like animation. Like that was like the other thing that was wild. Yeah.
And I mean, for what it was and how much money Lego say into it, I'm surprised they said, "Well, it seems like we're not getting much return on this. Let's just scrap it right here." It's like, no, don't scrap that, man. It's a really good, decent product that I think you guys should really just dive into and really explore more of it. But I guess they feel like we pretty much did what we can do.
Like, if they brought it back, would you guys buy into it? I'd totally get at least one. Just be like, this was my...
Yeah, I get one. Like, I'll get one for, like, you know, memory's sake, old time's sake.
Absolutely.
But,
I feel like,
yeah.
feel like Bionicle is kind of like Bionicle Lego is like Pokemon and Digimon.
I mean, they were. I mean,
It's
that's
kind of like
fair.
a wannabe. Like Lego's the real thing.
Right, but I mean, Lego still made them. Like that's
Yeah,
kind of
Bionicle is Lego.
yeah. Like that's the thing. And like it, like Lego made them. They just had their own brand. Like that's kind of thing. It's like I just always wonder why they like stopped doing it.
I don't know. I guess start seeing
I
less
didn't
and less of a
know.
return on the profits, you know. And I
Yeah.
guess just the amount of energy and effort it takes to make the Bionicle sets is completely different from the Ninjago, which Ninjago is Legos basically, but Bionicle you gotta like remold everything. The masks. You remember how intricate the masks were?
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was
Yeah,
crazy.
I think also another thing was they were probably making more money out of the Harry Potter, the Ninjago, the Star Wars sets than we were probably
Yeah,
making out of the Bionicle sets. Because Harry Potter, I literally remember they still fucking sell the Hogwarts thing and it's lit. I'm like, it is so fucking detailed. I'm
hmm
like,
Yeah.
yo, this is fucking nuts, man. Like they literally have like a proper Chamber of Secrets set, like the side of the Hogwarts castle set. I'm like, yo, this is fucking nuts, man. And like, I think the same with Ninjago, like the castles and shit. And I think another one was the one where
the city cop.
yeah, the city cops, the airports,
Star
Yeah,
Wars.
the Star Wars ones, dude, the Death Star. They
yeah,
had
Mm.
like
that's
Death
Yeah.
yeah.
Star and shit.
Or
And the
Yeah. No, our friend
games.
has the Millennium Falcon, which is insane
Millennium
for that
Falcon,
size.
yeah.
Yeah. I think they make
So
most of their money from Star Wars.
yeah,
yeah,
Star Wars is the only thing that's still producing new media. Like with
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harry Potter, it's pretty much done. You may have a couple of like what the new movie that's coming out, but nobody really cares about that really.
Yeah.
But for
Yeah.
Star Wars, I mean, you got what you got. The game Fallen Order. You got the 3D animated show Star Wars: The Clone Wars season 7 that finally came out, and now you're getting season 2 of Mandalorian, and so you got a lot
hmm
of Star Wars
Yeah.
media coming out. So there's constantly a source for them to make
See,
toys and scenes out of from Legos.
since we're
Yeah.
talking about Legos, something I've always thought about is like, which one's better, Legos or Minecraft? Like, if you really think about it, like Minecraft is basically like the younger generations of Legos. Like, like I don't think I've ever seen like a young kid now fuck with Legos, but they fuck with Minecraft. Like, like so the thing is like for me, I never got into Minecraft that much. Like I tried to do
Same
it, but it
here.
was I tried to get into it with friends, but it just wasn't my thing at all. But it's like I feel like that's replaced the Legos.
I mean, I feel like for me, I have to choose Legos every day, mainly because I am biased towards it. But it's just because it's real life. You can actually mold and create something. Like don't,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, like but Minecraft is fun because you gotta like think of it like an kind of real world. Like in order to make glass, you need to make glass. You need to make obsidian.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I'm just talking about the concept of feeling like you built something. Like I think like both of those together meld in a way. And like that's the thing, like I wonder if like who like Legos buyers really are. Like are parents still buying them for their kids? Or is it
Oh
just
yeah,
people
yeah.
like
yeah,
our
Yeah.
age? No, but I mean like or is
That
it people like our age that like buy them because like they like
you
the
know you'll
special
be
sets, whatever it is.
you'll be surprised. Yeah, since it's a great question that you brought up, Benny. My niece, she's probably 7 now, but like when she was 5, I brought her like I brought her a set, and she absolutely fell in love. Like I think when she was 5, maybe 4, when maybe 4 or 5, and I bought her a Lego set. I don't quite remember what it was, but I did end up buying her one, and I sent it with my mom back to India, and she absolutely was in love with the set, and she still disassembles it, still builds it up back again,
Nice.
and like
mhm.
so it's I think at the end of the day it's Lego will universally remain like a well loved toy. I mean, of course, see you
You broke up.
Yeah.
And you'll
Yeah, but there's a lot of technical difficulty
always
this
be
week.
like, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, even
So
for me
can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
I
can
can
hear
hear
you
you.
Yeah,
now.
we can hear you now.
Okay, perfect. So all I'm saying is, I mean, of course, there's going to be like people who love Lego, and there are going to be people who love Minecraft. But at the end of the day, it's this is my own personal, viewpoint, that something you can build in a video game is great, but then when you start applying the same distinct technical knowledge, it doesn't always translate into like a
Oh,
technical
yeah.
knowledge when you're doing it with
No,
Lego.
I agree with you. I'm just saying in terms of like, you think about like we all have a phone, like it's ubiquitous, and then you can get like Minecraft on it for $20 versus like a Lego set is like a good one is like 100 or $200. Like
Yeah.
all I'm
Hmm.
saying is like, and one technically is like infinite possibilities. The other one is only good for the many times you want to build that set. All I'm trying to say is like, well, I personally prefer the Legos. All I'm saying is like, do you think like it's just declining because one like cost and two like you can kind of get the same feel from building something like on Minecraft? That's really the only question I'm asking. Like like I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying like I think one's more convenient than the other. And I think that's
Convenient
kind
than
of
the
the thing
other,
where
yeah.
like I think they can both exist. I just think they've kind of like lost their relevance.
Yeah.
I don't know. What about you, Anthony? What do you say?
Okay, so I've been playing an unhealthy amount of Minecraft recently as well. There's like, and I was a massive Lego kid. Like I have a Lego like Technic fucking Ferrari right behind me.
Nice.
I spent like
That's nice.
a week building that. Not to flex. I think both have their own merits. So, especially with Minecraft, there's this mechanic that I'm really obsessed with called redstone, which is essentially like circuitry, like binary circuitry. And that should like I've been obsessed with like making stuff out of that, like automatic farms and stuff. And that's just like a mechanic, something that Lego doesn't offer. But like, I'm still a Lego fanboy at heart because I grew up with that. Play like, but I think I think they're two different things. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Like,
I just think like they both like I think they're both popular with like young children.
yeah, and they
And
both
like that's
offer.
kind of
They
yeah.
both
No,
offer
I,
different
I'm just
experiences.
I'm just saying like I think like it's easier to tell a parent, hey, like let's pay $20 and like you have everything versus like with a Lego set, it's like okay, well like do you have that amount of money to like buy a set all the time? That's really the only question I'm asking because like I've seen the argument before, and like I just put thought into it, and I was like, it kind of has a point. Like it'd be sad that Legos aren't around, but I mean, I just like I can't tell you last time I've seen anybody like specifically like go to the store and buy one for their kid.
I'm just saying the Lego subreddit is still popping off.
I'll definitely have to check it out.
Subreddit. Oh my god, really? Nah, man. Lego stores are so popular till today, man. Like,
Mhm.
you go to Disney
Yeah.
Springs, I know everything's closed down there, or to malls. Almost every mall I've been to has some sort of Lego store where you can purchase Legos because those things are still sought after today.
Yeah.
And it's just fun, man. It's fun to make things with your hands in real life versus online. I mean, anybody
Oh
can
yeah,
do that,
for sure.
but it's like your own imagination and how you place everything together. It's really what makes it so cool and nice.
Yeah. But with that, Amog, do you want to start with the serious topic of the show?
Yeah. So shifting tones to a little more serious topic. This is something which happened in India a couple of days back, and it's at the center of the Me Too movement, hashtag Me Too movement. Something called as the boys' locker room incident. A lot of people have probably heard of it. A lot of people from India listening in will have heard of it, and everybody has an opinion. So I'm just going to list, if it is my correct understanding, I'm just going to list the facts first and then probably move on to what I think of this, and we can all get our opinions on this. So what happened was that there was a group of 16, 17-year-olds, if I'm not mistaken, on Instagram, and they were circulating pictures of their, some of their classmates. I think they were from the Delhi public school, which, um, for the record, is one of the finest, schools in India. So I think they were from the Delhi public school. They were circulating pictures of their classmates, who also, might I add, were underage, minors to be more specific, and they were making, inappropriate comments about inappropriate and violent comments about these their classmates, saying that they could gang rape this particular individuals, and saying other stuff, which is, it's a parent's nightmare, to be honest. And me seeing something like this, and since I'm an uncle, and in eventuality I will be a dad, seeing this really just, it scared the living fucking daylights out of me. And so one of the kids, he tattled on his fellow group mates. So once this hit the news,
snitch, huh?
yeah, he snitched, but he snitched for the right reasons. I'm just going to be
That's
frank.
the
He
joke,
snitched for
that's
the
the
right
joke.
reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of snitches, like, did you see that Takashi 6ix9ine
Tekashi
put out
6ix9ine.
a song about
Wait,
like I snitched and I still back or something like that?
Yeah,
wait, he put out
yeah.
a song?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
recently a new song, something about like I'm back.
Yeah. It's and he goes on Instagram, and he goes, slight detour, guys. He goes on Instagram, and he's literally like, he comes in with the tune of Bad Boys, What You Gonna Do, with like handcuffs, and he's like spinning the handcuffs like this, and it's the funniest fucking shit you'll ever see.
I know.
It's-
I saw that. That is so freaking hilarious, man. I'm just like,
Yeah, and then the music video, he has like the ankle bracelet that uses to track prisoners on his leg.
Is it Gooba?
Mhm.
Is that the name of the
I'm
song?
not sure. I saw it floating around on Insta, but
Yeah, so
Like a Tijuana movie.
back to the topic at hand. Back to the topic at hand. I think so once like this thing hit the media, and everybody, like, it just, the media erupted for obvious reasons, and people started calling to the police. So here's the thing: the police couldn't do anything, because while this
If wrong,
so
it's just
apparently
wrong.
the Indian, no, here's the thing. The Indian Penal Code does not have a provision for distributing inappropriate pictures of minors. Here's how fucked up my system is. But these clowns, once they found out that everything was everything was out there, all their actions were out, they formed another group on Instagram, and like a C-grade movie villain, they literally said, we are going to like take revenge on those women, and we're going to take we'll either rape them, or we're gonna fuck them, and we're gonna like kill them, and like cut them up into like tiny little pieces. I'm literally quoting shit from like screenshots of all this shit was taken, and they sent them to the cops, and the cops are like, finally, oh, now that we have like people suggesting violence, yeah, suggesting that they're going to be violent and sexually harass these women, okay, now we can take action. So now, since they had proof that, oh, which apparently they didn't have the first time around, which doesn't make any fucking sense in my opinion, but they did. So now these guys have been arrested, and they're going to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which I'm happy about, because
man.
some of these clowns come from influential families. But this brings me to like my question, which I want to ask you, fine gentlemen, is since everybody says this dialogue that all men are trash, and at first it used to really irritate me, but now I'm starting to slightly see more and more merit in what this is. Let's face it, we this boys' locker room, and seeing like even what the Honorable President Donald J. Trump said, he wants to grab a woman by the pussy, and he just brushed it off as saying, "Oh, that was just locker room talk." Is in today's day and age, should we be held to a higher standard, or is it just some people that are bringing us, some outliers who behave this way, and they just give the entire just give us this entire you know give the entire, say, male community or male fraternity a bad name. So what's your take on this? I've given you all the facts. Go ahead, guys.
I can go first.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's kind of with me with, I guess, the police society. Unfortunately, that happened on some unlawful lockups and killings of innocent people, typically of the minority. And my whole thing is just like, yes, this like the system we live in right now, unfortunately, it's more favorable to males than it is to females, unfortunately. And if you're in between that, then you're shot out of luck, unfortunately. And I think that there are a lot of bad men out there who make other good men look bad. And it's not like one thing I really don't like. It's when I understand if a lady wants to make a post saying, "Hey, all men are trash," but if you're truly a good guy, then you read that, you understand, hey, you know what, that may be true, but you don't need to respond to that post. You can just keep on going on about your day, because that her or this person saying that all men are trash isn't going to affect your day. It shouldn't affect your character if you truly are a good person at the end of the day. And these kids who did, well, not these kids, these men, because I'm assuming they're 18, 19 years old, right, Amog?
They're actually kids, but
they're actually kids.
They're actually kids, if I'm not mistaken. I may not have that fact
I thought you
right.
said they were like 16.
16 or 17, but you can call them animals. That's what they are.
Well, yeah.
They're old enough.
These guys.
It's not a right thing to say or do,
Yeah,
but
these guys, they're going to learn a very harsh lesson at a very young age, and hopefully learning this very harsh lesson is going to make them really think about, okay, it is not nice to say certain things and say these things out loud or in a forum. Hey, listen, if you want to think that, I mean, I can't arrest you for thinking something, if it's to yourself. If you think it's something like to yourself, I mean, you can't police thoughts. That's the only thing we can't do. We can't police thoughts, so that's very hard to do.
I mean, for me personally, like, I have a few thoughts on it. First of all, with locker room talk in general, like, that term I think got really popular when the president said about his famous comment, "Oh, that was locker room talk." I mean, for me, just going even what he said was a bit too far. I think for me, locker room talk should just be like, "Oh yeah, that girl's hot," blah 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 blah. Like, like, to that extent, not like, "Oh, I'm gonna fuck the shit out of him," blah blah blah. Like, all that, like, that's too much. I think, like, like, at that point, like, you're just treating them as an object, and that's not right in the sense. But basically, like, when I think about the all men are trash, all of that, like, I have a good friend of mine who she likes to quote that all the time, and then I'm like, hey, it doesn't bug me, but it's like, okay, like, with a guy you date or with people that like, would you call them trash? And then it's like, it gets them a moment to pause and think like, no, I wouldn't call them trash. That's not to say that there are people out there who exist who absolutely are. And I think it's important to call people out on doing things that aren't acceptable, like these guys that we're talking about. Like, what they're doing is not acceptable. What they're saying is not acceptable, and then it's a thought and action it creates, and it should not be normalized. And I think that's something that is an issue. Like, I don't like, the thing is, like, yes, those men are trash. Like, like, I think there's many, many people that can apply to, but on the same spectrum, like, there's plenty of people who are just normal people. So, like, I think, like, the standard is that, I guess, the more vocal minority or the more, I guess, shocking face value kind of people, like, they're going to bring that awareness, and I think it's, like, up to us to be like, hey, that's fucked up. That's not what you do at all, etc. But, I mean, like, in terms of the entire situation, like, I do think they should be tried as adults. I do think that escalation's way too far, and I think if we left them unchecked, like, those things probably would have happened. I think that the police were right in the first sense of being like, well, they didn't say they were going to do this, they just talked about it, right? Like, they didn't specifically imply like, oh, we're going to do this, but then the second time around when they did it, that's I do agree with the response in that case where like they were specifically saying what they were going to do, and that's wrong. Like that's the thing, like because there's many times you can speak in conjecture, be like, oh, this person pissed me off, like, oh, I want to kill them, like, but do you mean that? No. But then when you go ahead and say like, oh, like you get into the nitty gritty of like, oh, we're gonna chop them up into pieces, like, yeah, that's a little bit too much.
Yeah.
So I think there's a fine line that kind of needs to be walked in that threshold, like, like it's like what Brad is saying, like, you shouldn't be bugged if you see a post and you see a woman saying all men are trash. I mean, that's fair, I think, but I think you're also allowed to like basically open a dialogue and ask why. You know what I mean? Like, it's important to not just accept things at face value. I think it's important to like start questioning. Like with my friend, like she's a hardcore feminist. Like it'd be hard to find a woman who's not in a sense, but like she uses it a lot just to kind of piss people off, though. And it's not that it annoys me, but it's just kind of like think about like what you're saying. Like, would you call your dad trash then? Like, would you call like
Your
like
brother?
like, yeah, would you call your brother, your boyfriend trash? And then like, those are the questions I ask, and like they'd be like, no. Then I'm like, okay, then like, shouldn't you refine your statement? And then she's like, no, all men are still trash. And I was like, okay,
I
so then
think
like, I mean, like, it's just, I think it's important. Like, it's like, I'm in agreement that like, like a lot of the more polarizing things that have been done are very bad, and I'm in agreement with that. But I think it's like at this, like, like we could easily make a whole broad statement saying like all women are sluts, which is not the case. But then it's like we have multiple examples of like, well, this thing happened here. Like I think it's very easy to paint a picture on both sides. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing. Like, I think like specification of the situation is better than just broadly stroking a brush on every single definition.
yeah,
How you?
And like,
fair enough.
yeah, like when people say like all men are trash, like I don't really feel like they mean that all men are trash, you know? Like I feel like that's just something people say like out of frustration. Like
Yeah.
like when I'm bothered, I say like, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking kill myself," but like I'm not actually gonna do that, you know? Like, and I think it's something similar to that. Like it's just something you say when you're pissed off. And like,
Frustrated,
yeah. But like for what they did, I think like anything that involves like minors and like like the harassment of minors should be treated like as severely as possible. I think that shit's like super fucked up because they're still developing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Like
for sure.
like especially like sexualization of minors. I think that shit's completely disgusting. And there have been like a lot of stuff recently that's happened like with that, and not a lot has been done. Like the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I get that the people who did it are minors, like the ones responsible, but it's still pretty fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, like, it just gets to a certain point, like, why would you go down that line of thinking if you're
Yeah.
that sad?
Yeah,
Like-
and that's And to further clarify my thoughts about like I'm sorry, Anthony. You want to join in? You want to say something, Anthony?
Yeah, I was just gonna say like, the kids are fucking stupid, but like, there's a limit to how stupid you can be and not get punished. Like, what they did was way out of line.
Yeah, yeah. Like to further clarify my thoughts about thinking certain things, there is a limit about that. If you're having these negative thoughts about people, then go speak to a psychiatrist. Go talk to an adult.
Psychiatrist.
Yeah,
Psychiatrist. Yeah, that's.
Yes, yes. So
But
if you are having these thoughts about like hurting other people or wanting to take advantage of other people from a power standpoint or any other standpoints, talk to a trusted person in the medical field who can help you work through those issues. And again, those dudes who are having those issues, they should have realized. I mean, I get it. They are young. They are 16, 17 years old. Some of them could be 18, 19 years old, whatever the case may be. But they're still young. Like, they're still very young. And just like us, we haven't really experienced all of life yet. Neither have they. But they're going to learn a very harsh lesson early in their life, if you have these type of thoughts about people, first of all, you shouldn't. First of all, you shouldn't share pictures of your classmates or anybody you know that's shared to you on privately.
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
Yeah.
Like that's one
Here's
thing.
here's another
Um,
thing. These pictures were shared without the consent of any
yeah,
of these women. So they were probably taken off their Instagram like main feed and screenshotted, and then they said, "Yeah, we'll definitely rape this chick." And I'm like, "Yeah, what the fuck, man?" Like, I mean, and
yeah,
here's another like illogical statement a lot of guys make. Oh, imagine if this woman is your sister or your mother. Why do I have to imagine every woman as a relative of mine? Why can't I just be respectful
I
to this
think, yeah.
person because this
I
person
mean,
is a human being?
I just think that thought is like, I think, and I'm maybe this is me painting in broad strokes, but I feel like a lot of women think that men just don't respect any women whatsoever. But it's like if it's a close relative, family member, you're like, of course that person deserves my respect. So I think like they're saying like, okay, now imagine this individual you don't know is either your sister or your mom. Like, would you make those same comments about them? And like I think that's kind of where it comes down to. Like I think like like if women do hold the opinion like all men are trash, then using that analogy would be like, okay, then why do you set standards for these particular women in your life and not strangers? Like, don't get me wrong, like I feel bad for women like if they're concerned about like walking alone at dark at night and stuff like that, because like like people really shouldn't be having those thoughts, but that's just the way the world is, unfortunately. But I think it's also their job and our job when we see something like that to bring awareness and say, hey, that's not cool for doing those things. Like,
mhm,
but at the same time, like I think like by just saying that, like I think by the same thing, like being so focused on like this always happens, like you're bringing that upon yourself as well. Like, it's just kind of, it's like, like I think if you had a better understanding, say like, like, yeah, the majority of people you meet can be pretty trashy, pretty mean spirited people, but like there are people who are good. Like I think that's a better distinction than just completely going for just everybody's favorite line, but
yeah, yeah.
See, I mean, yeah. Go on,
And
Brad. Go on.
another thing is that some people and some guys may call other guys out. Oh, why are you being nice to that girl? What do you want? Like why are you being so respectful? And like you can be nice to somebody without wanting anything. And I know some
yeah,
guys have that mentality of like, oh, the only reason why I'm being nice and being so kind to this girl is I'm trying to get something at the end. Like, no, I just want to be nice and kind because that's just who I am.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
if a guy starts accusing you of trying to be nice, of trying to be trying to do something like to help you for some end goal, no, like you're doing it because you want to do it, not because you're trying to get something out of it.
Yeah, that's. I think that's a sensible distinction which a lot of people like. I mean, that's why like it's nowadays everybody like. I think the term floating around is like even if you're even just a decent human being, guys will call you a simp. A lot of people will just call you a
Or
simp.
a knight in shining armor, a
Yeah,
white
Yeah,
knight.
a
yeah,
white knight. Yeah,
a white knight. And I don't think that's what it is. I think some of us out there, again, this is just I want to make things clear to those people who are listening. These are just our thoughts. These are just our ideas on how things can be made better. Because I think all of us at the end of the day, it boils down to we. And I think we ask ourselves these questions. And I speak for myself here, but I think all of us ask ourselves the question that how can I make things better? And I think the first idea is to have a conversation and to have a table where everybody has an equal, I think, representation. And like everybody can, it's a safe space where everybody can talk. And we can decide on how to make things better. I think that, so the very fact that we are thinking that how to go, how to make things better is very important. So yeah, so Ivy, do you have any thoughts on this?
Uh,
Yeah, sorry,
yeah.
I just hopped in.
We're
yeah.
talking
We're
about
just
the boys topic.
The boys' locker room. The boys'
Yeah, who
locker
said
room,
like
the serious topic.
just a lot of fucked up shit, like just they're gonna rape a certain woman because like they snitched on them or whatever, and they're talking about their photos and that kind of stuff. Mo presented the question of like, like does that mean like all men are trash? Is that like something that like could be gone from this issue because like this is an extreme case? Like basically like what are your thoughts on like what they said? What do you feel like? I guess not necessarily should be done because they are arrested now, but like, what do you think like is important? I guess to spread awareness of this, or just kind of, like show that this isn't
Um,
okay.
yeah. So one thing I'm thinking now, just from what you're saying, is that because you have a lot of people that say, oh, like all men are trash or something. And I guess you you could have grounds to say that if you've actually experienced that. Like, if you've experienced like a male like treating you badly, I guess you could say that. I wouldn't agree with it, but okay. But you have those people, you have those like women in this case who go around say, "Oh, all men are trash," but on the other hand, they're treating every guy like trash. You know what I mean? So I feel like no one's really like perfect in this situation, but I do feel like those guys they do need someone to like stand up to them, and they need people to say like, okay, what they're doing is like not right in this case. But I feel like we shouldn't overlook that, like overlook how like people may be using like a situation like this to abuse, I guess, other people. So we do have to look at it like in every like spectrum and aspect, I feel like. So that's my opinion.
I mean, the
Yeah, I
other
think
thing that just a quick anecdote. The other thing that like I find funny with the majority of women who say men are trash is that like most of the time they'll pick trashy men to begin with, though, and really all I have to say about that is like you can't dig for gold in a dumpster. Just
Yeah,
Yeah.
set 'em up, like.
Mhm.
yeah. To go
yeah,
back on,
I think
you go on, Mo. It's okay. I'll wait till
Go.
you.
no. See, yeah, go on, man. Go on, Brad.
Oh,
Go ahead.
thanks, man. I was just gonna say, yeah, just for, I mean, because sometimes, sometimes people just like picking bad people. Some, sometimes, a lot of girls, a lot of guys out there tend to not pay attention to those red flags that are clearly there for that person, and they ignore those red flags, and then they get surprised when one of those when they get hurt at the end, when there were clear red flags when you were talking to this person or when you're going to know this person, but they chose to ignore those red flags. I've been guilty of that. I'm pretty sure you guys have had your experience with you. You've been guilty of that. But I'm not going to say in the day, well, all females or all men or whoever is all bad. I'm just going to say, well, you know what? Next time I'll pay a little more attention. If I see these red flags pop up in somebody, I'm just going to avoid them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that is a valid point, but a lot of people are good at hiding that. I will say this. A lot of people are good at hiding stuff like this also. So, it's not necessary that, you'll end up seeing those red flags right away. But yes, I do agree that, red flags are something that which, we as, individuals need to pay attention to, because I mean, I think like Brad said, we have been guilty of sometimes seeing those red flags, or exhibiting those red flags, but sometimes a lot of people either wantonly or involuntarily ignore them. But again, I think the main issue over here, which we really need to address, is that I think at the end of the day, it's not about us. It's about how we can make things better. Because let's face it, it's a male-dominated society, and which primarily borders on another topic which I can't stand, is patriarchy. And I think as people who are privileged, because we're males, living in a male dominated society, I mean, let's face it, we're in fields which are like, I mean, let's face it, Brad, and civil engineering, like how many women are represented? primarily because this field has been, because this field is so deeply represented by males. The, let's look at the male to female ratio. It's so skewed. So, I mean, why is there no representation of women? And the primary aspect of it is because, the work hours, and the work hours have been created by men. So,
Yeah. You can also say that, but you also talk about how, especially early in life, men are told, to be in these roles like engineers, stuff like that. While sometimes girls aren't encouraged to go into those forms.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
I think it's
So
honestly,
yeah. So
it's an interest. It's also an interesting too. I mean, I feel like I don't know. A lot of guys would be more interested in like professions like engineering and all that. That's just. I think it comes down to interest. I don't think it's just because
Well, I
males
mean,
want
I
to
think it's
dominate
like a
that.
50
But
thing.
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's like a 50-50 thing. Like for me being in mechanical engineering, like there's not that many women. Like I guess like at a class of like 120 people, there's probably like 10 girls in the class, But when I think about it, when I think about it in that way, like I think it's also like if you really think about it, like if you're in those classes, like I feel like probably as like a female, it's probably discouraging to see that many men in the room and then like probably the majority of them are trying to flirt with them or something else. So like I could see how that easily make them uncomfortable. Like I could easily see how like that would be off-putting at the very beginning of like not wanting to like be there for that. And like like that to be said with that, like there's definitely a lot of majors like in engineering, like chemical or industrial, that have a lot more women in it. And like you could argue that
Or
maybe
so
that
environmental.
yeah,
Yeah.
you could argue that like that kind of concentration, like the reason there's more is because like like that just adds like, oh, there's a lot of females here, maybe I can make some friends, like and like and that kind of builds. Whereas some of the other dominated ones are just not there yet in that sense, and it's kind of hard to break that barrier. But I don't know. I mean, like I think it's just kind of like also inclusion. Like I think there's like I remember in my design team, like I had this one girl who was very sweet, but like somebody like in my team would like always cut her off when she's talking, no matter what, like, and that doesn't really build inclusion either. And like the thing is, like I think they were also kind of unaware they were doing it, but even then, like like it's just like that's could be also pretty discouraging to see that too, or have that happen to you, and it not go addressed as well. Like so, I think like there's a lot of multiple factors involved in that is kind of hard to like see. Like I think like if you don't feel like you belong in a particular group, like that's just going to persuade you to not be there.
Yeah, like I know exactly where you're coming from. Like I do electrical engineering, which is a massive sausage fest.
Yeah, dude fest. Yeah.
Like there, it's a weird combination of like not a lot of girls and just social ineptitude from the guys, where it's just like such a massive field of uncomfortable thirst. Like,
yeah.
like there's this weird sexual energy just coming from my digital logic class. It's there's just you hear awkward flirting.
Yeah.
Like, hey, how you doing?
dirty lecture.
Yeah. Can I
And it's
talk to
also-
you?
baby, if I'm your one, can you be my zero? Like stupid fucking binary jokes.
Yeah.
Damn, you're really looking like a 1001. Wait,
Well,
shit, that's
she's
wrong.
just-
1010.
1010.
Is that like the code or something?
That's 10 in binary.
You're making my
binary.
circuit board overheat, baby.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and
Go on.
and it's kind of hard for like women in any male-dominated like environment, especially gaming. If a woman turns on her mic in any online game,
Yeah, every dude is like right
dudes
there.
get thirsty.
Every dude, man. Every
Yeah.
dude.
Like,
really
that's that's been me when I was in high school. Whenever I hear a girl speak on Xbox, I'm like, oh my god, a vagina.
yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't think those were real.
and
I
like,
remember Black Ops 2 with a friend of mine, and like she turned on her mic, and then she got like 5 like 10-year-old kids like following her every move, like, "Hey, do you need me to kill that guy for you?" And I'm like, "Wow, this is simping even back then in like what 2010."
Bro, that
And
was
now,
looking
We
like
all were since
RuneScape.
back then, man.
I was like RuneScape, bro.
yeah,
It was lit though.
you have no idea. I had a female character in WoW once, and people simp like even if just your character is female.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
It's great.
I think does anybody else have anything to say on this, like this entire topic? Like, do we?
I think we pretty much nailed this topic down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
just to close it up, I'd say it's not acceptable what those guys did at all. They should be tried for what they did, like, and instead of looking at the collective image of men, I think it's important to, at least for guys, to like just disown that kind of behavior. Like, like it's one thing to just stand by and be like, well, that's just those individuals. I think it's another thing to be like, well, this really isn't acceptable and you shouldn't be doing this. Like, and I think that's a distinction that needs to happen. And I think maybe if something like that were to continue to be done in that kind of manner when the situation arises, that might help with the moniker men are trash. Like it might just be like, no, some men are. But I'd say like we're probably at the precipice where like the majority are right now, or it's slowly dying back. Like we look at the reaction of Hollywood of the multiple cases of like what have happened recently with Weinstein and all that, and you look at other kind of just dominated roles. Like I think like slowly those kind of archetypes are dying down, but it's still very prevalent. And I think until that kind of subsides, until like you kind of call those behaviors out, like it's still going to be that much of an issue. But with that, this has been the Any Thoughts podcast. It's me, Benny, signing out.
It is me, B-Rad, signing off.
It's me, Big Mo, signing off.
Iverson signing off.
And
our
guest, Anthony. I hope you guys like him. He will be back for other episodes down the line.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anthony.
We're going to give you the water special.
Water special, man.
With
Please.
better
Water.
technical.
H2O.
Hell yeah.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.